Hi, welcome to this video in which I'll be showing you how to use the bulk mailer software. You will download this software by going to this site digital-datahouse.com. So there are two versions of this software, the one that is totally free and that has a couple of banners in it, and the other one that's paid and costs 10 USDs. Among having a couple of banners in it, these two applications, the free and the paid one, are completely the same. So you haven't got any reasons to purchase the paid one, except if you dislike these banners in the application. So let's go and download the completely free application. So we'll go onto this link. This is the paid one, and beneath the paid one you have this download bulk mailer free includes banners. Here in the paid one you have this explanation that says that this paid one has totally free version with no limitation that includes banners. So let's click here and download the application. When we click, we'll get this setup file that we will save to our desktop. So the idea for making this application came from the fact that there is very little applications for bulk mailing that are totally free. The ones that are the applications that are advertised as being free really are not. They give you the capabilities to import around some 100 contacts, and when you pass this very low limit, you are advised and pointed to the site where you're to pay to use the paid application that is usually around 150 USDs. So from there I got this idea to create this application that will be totally free. Let's install the application by running it. So we may have some it's a Windows application, and occasionally we may get these security warnings. We'll go and run the application. All right. The default place for installing this application is on the desktop. Why is that so? Because the application has a database that it uses, and if you install it on some other place, it may very often happen that you don't have the access rights to access the application, the database file. So you can install it on some other place. In that case, you need to go to the database file and give it permissions for access. And I will show you how that is done if you install it somewhere else. But we'll leave it as it is and install it on the desktop. We'll click the next, we'll create a shortcut as well, next, and we'll install the application. We'll not launch it. So this is the folder of the application, and this is the icon to run the application. I'll click it twice and show you. This is the database file. The database used is a SQLite database, and you can open and manipulate this database by using any free tool like SQL Studio, SQL Admin, or any other one. So I just wanted to show you if you can install this application somewhere else, for example in the program files, when you go on the properties, security, edit, most probably these checks will be unchecked, and that's the reason why when you run the application, most probably it will not run. So if you have installed it, do this thing on some other place, check these checkboxes, on the application, it will be all right. But if you install it on the desktop, you won't have these issues. Now let's run the application. We'll run it by double-clicking it. So this is the catch why this application is free, because it has this banner and it has these two links. That's everything. So what are the main features of this application? We have the setups. We'll set up SMTP servers here. We can set up the data, import the data, and after we're done with that, we can choose which SMTP setups we are going to use for bulk mailing. These are randomly used. Here in the second drop down, we have the list. Here, the list of contacts on which we are sending our bulk mails is going to appear, and on the first drop in we can compose the message. We can write this the subject, and then we can dynamically, like in Word by using mail merge options, we can dynamically customize our message. For example, hi, then we would use company contact. I have seen your site and then we use website data. These data are going dynamically to be loaded from the list of contacts here. Regards, Mr. X. Here we will say contact offer, something like that. Here we can add a couple of attachments if we feel so. We will hold on to control and keep clicking if we want to add a couple of more than one attachment. We'll go to open, and once we have the contacts on, so this is also a very interesting thing. We have capability to send a test email. So this is done by so we would have some email address, our own, so our address at gmail.com, on which we would set this test email to see how this message is going to look. In that case, it will use the first the data, this company contact, website, and other things from the first contact from our contact list, and the other, but it will not use its email. It will use this email. When we find that this message is appropriate for us, then we can send bulk mail messages on this place. If at any moment, for example, if we are sending some 10,000 emails, we have already sent this bar is going to increase. If at any given moment of sending the emails we want to stop, we can stop the sending of emails by clicking this button here. But the emails that have already been sent are sent, so we cannot do anything about it. We also have this button here to remove the attachments that we have added. So now let's go and add some data, see how the data is manipulated in the application. The first thing that we need to do is set up our email server, email SMTP setups. So here we have two examples of standard Gmail and Yahoo setups. These are the Gmail and Yahoo SMTP servers. The only thing that we're left to do here is add our usernames. For example, my user at gmail.com, and here add my password. After we're done with this, we are to click on this add update. We can also delete by clicking on the delete here, and we are offered a yes no option. We'll click no at this particular moment. Let's add a new one. We would add it by simply clicking on this new field. We never touch these IDs. We only populate the informations from the name to the right. Test one, I'm going to enter here whatever. The very important thing is that we need to populate all of these records. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, blah 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 blah. On these last two fields, the only values that we can enter are true or false. Sorry, false. Very important thing to memorize is that these are entered only when we click on here add, on this add or update. So we can also update it by changing this name, test324 update. If we feel like deleting this contact, we can delete it. Just mark it like this, delete it. Yes, we want to delete, and that's it. So that's all we have to do in regard to this part. Another important thing is if we're making some changes here for the name or port or anything else. So I'll show you something. I will change this name here, click on add update, but when I go on the first spot and I see this from email, it's not changed. Why is that? Because we need to go on this to mail and to say reload data and filters. Now it has been loaded. The same goes for this other information. If we change this port to some other number and we keep sending our emails here and we get some errors, it means that we need to reload these setups from this page here. So this is a very important button on this to mail, reload data and filters. Have that in mind. So let's turn this back to where it was. Add, So we'll go preload, and that's the way it is. So one thing to notice is that application will send emails on the information that it has on this page here. So this was a very important thing. The second important thing is the way for us to import our contacts here. So we can manually type these contacts like this, which will be a very slow and iterative process. Go to this add, go to this refresh. We never touch the IDs as we said, but the better way to do this is to do bulk imports. We have this import new data button. So we're to import the data from our CSV files. I'll give you an example of how one of those files can look. These data that I will be showing you are the ones that I'm selling on my site. But you can have contacts of your own. If you want, you can purchase this company data on my own site. Here, as you can see, I'm selling this CSV file with some 90 million records that have around 2 million emails. So I'll show you an example how this application works with these files, but you can use any other file. You can have your own contacts. You don't need to use this one. So I'm just giving you an example. I'll go to these files. I have them here, somewhere here. So let's open one of these files and see what it has in it. So we have some information. So on the first row, we can see that we have the column names, company name, address, city, but the data itself is enclosed with quotes, and as a separator in this CSV file, we're using commas. So that will be that is going to be the way we're going to make our setup. String enclosed with quotes, yes. CSV file separator, it's comma. Sometimes it's some other pipeline or something else, some other sign, double quotes, or it may be anything. First column contains column names. We'll say yes, it does. So we'll point to the file that we want to import. We'll import this one. A very important thing, so as we can see in these fields, right now we haven't got anything. So we are to click on this load data for mapping. Now the first row of the data has been loaded. This is the one, and it will enable us to do the mapping and point to the proper fields. So company name, we'll use company name. For address, we will use address. For city, we will use city. For state, we will use state. Zip, zip. County, county. Gender, gender. Phone number, phone number. Fax number, fax number. Company contact, company contact. Company contact title, company contact title. Website, website. Number of employees, total employees. Annual sales, industry, SICO description. Email is generic company email address. These other informations we don't have. This other information we don't have, we not import this information. The very important thing to notice here is the records that don't have the email. For example, this record hasn't got the email information. They will be simply skipped. Since this is a bulk email, an application for bulk mailing, so this information, so we're only recording and inserting the data that have email data. So we'll click on the import. Are we sure? Yes, we're fine with this. So at this particular moment, the informations are being imported. We're done. So after we're done with this, we'll close this import screen and go here. Nothing has changed here, so we need to do the refresh here. So here is our data. That's great. So let's delete this first row here. We can delete the processes done here are permanent. So when I delete this item, it will be permanently deleted. Delete, am I sure? Yes, I'm sure. So the very important thing here, we also have the capability to delete all contacts here, so that we delete everything. To export all of my contacts, so I can do this importing several times, import more data, and export all of these information into a new CSV file like this. So I'll simply, I'll point it to the destination, and I'll name it somehow .csv, and it will be imported if I click save, it will be exported to this to this location. This is a standard refresh button, and this is a very important button, recreate to mail filters. These are the filters here. So I have added some data, and if I do the reload like right now, I will see that I have them here. But what can happen is that I can manually enter some information here, for example, test something, and put for test, and put for the state test, add these record like this, do the refresh, I have it here. So when I go here for this and on this menu, and when I go on, I don't have the test here. Why is that so? If I even if I even reload data and filters on this button, this will last right now a bit more because I have already like 15,000 records or something like that. I'll notice that again I don't have the test here. So what's the catch? These ones are recreated on when doing the bulk import, but not when I do the manual import. So I need to do this recreate to mail filters, this button. So now when I do this reload data and filters, I should have it here. So these are very two important buttons. This one, if we do some manual entries. So if we want these ones to appear in the filters, and this one is important if you want to reload something. The reloading is done anytime you turn on the application. But if you have done something here and you want it to appear here, you need to reload. So right now we'll have this test over here. The emails are sent on this list here. So here I also have the capability to remove a single item. So this item that has been removed hasn't been deleted. It's only removed from this send to list. I can again do the reload, and I will again have it here. Or I can do the filter as well. So it's here again. So I can decrease this list by, for example, picking only the ones that contacts that have a website. So now you can see that all the contacts will have a website. I can also filter more and choose some contacts from this county, for example, and go on the filter. So, for example, this is a list of contacts on which I want to send my emails. As I can see, I have this also very interesting is contacted column that will, after I send emails, will be changed to true. So I'm able to check and further on filter here these records on which I have already sent an email and to which I need to send my emails. So essentially the most important thing here to know is that this is a list, this one, on which the mass bulk mailing are sent, from which emails am I sending this? From these two ones. So here I can have several from SMTP server addresses. So these are used randomly. If I have, for example, here some 10,000 emails, the first one will be sent from Gmail, the second one from Gmail, the third one from Yahoo, the fourth one. So these are randomly picked. I can disable one of these, and in that case, it will only be sent from Yahoo. Here I can have hundreds of these from emails. This is very important thing to know also. So, and the last thing that we need to do is set up our message. So this is the message, for example, and we could send this message, for example, right now we're pleased with this message. You can see that now this button is enabled because I have something here. Previously, when I didn't have these informations, when this list was empty, I was not able to do this send test email. So if I would send it to myself, for example, to see how this message looks, the information from this first row would be used, but it would not be sent to this email address right here. It would be sent to the one that I have typed in on this one. So this gives me capability to review this email. And when I'm pleased with anything, with all of this, with everything, I can start sending this bulk email messages clicking on this button, which I'm not going to do right now. And I can stop it here. And that's all there is. Hopefully hopefully. If you find any issues with this application, you can find an email on the website, on this website, digitaldatahouse.com. You have it here in the contacts, I guess. You can write on this email or any other one. If you can contact me, you can also write me an email. So if you find any bugs in the application, and that would be all. You can completely freely use this application with no limitations. Have this in mind that in many countries sending bulk emails is not permitted by law, and you should investigate on this issue before you start sending bulk emails. Although we have all full inboxes of bulk emails, but have in mind this before you start marketing your products, your ideas, by sending bulk emails. So thanks a lot for listening to this video and watching this video. So I'll wish you a very nice time.